Good morning students, this is 11th class biology chapter 9 biomolecules and this is lecture number 4 of this chapter. Topics that we will discuss today are protein structure and nucleic acids. In previous lecture also we were discussing about proteins and we have discussed primary structure of protein, right? Now we will discuss about secondary structure of protein, because in primary structure of protein we discussed that a linear chain of polypeptide is formed, right? So proteins cannot exist in that linear chain of polypeptide for long time. What will happen when the protein will mature? That linear chain will fold upon itself, okay, and different forms will be there and those will be called secondary structure. So two forms can be there for the secondary structure of protein. These can be alpha helix structure of protein or beta plated structure of protein. Both these are secondary structure of protein. Okay, in alpha helix structure, a structure like this will be formed, like protein polypeptide chain will fold like this. Okay, this is N-terminal and this is C-terminal. You know about this, where the amino group is free and carboxyl group is free, right? So in a linear chain of polypeptide, these two ends are there. Okay, so when this linear chain forms this helix, these two ends will be there. Okay, so this form is called alpha helix form. And in beta plated sheet form, plates like this will be formed. Polypeptide chain will take a form like this. This is called beta plated structure, and here these are joined with the help of hydrogen bonds. These are hydrogen bonds present between these stretches of polypeptide. Okay, so these two forms can be there for the secondary structure of protein. Now you can see here in alpha helix form, polypeptide chain curls forming a spiral or helix. Okay, and these helix are always right-handed helix. Okay, always right-handed helix will be formed here in the secondary structure of protein. And in beta plated form, a zigzag shaped protein structure is formed by formation of hydrogen bonds. As you have seen in the structure, hydrogen bonds are present. Okay, so a zigzag shaped protein structure is formed in beta plated form. So this was about the secondary structure of protein. Next level of protein structure is tertiary structure of protein. And here in tertiary structure, a hollow woolen ball like structure is formed. And this hollow woolen ball like structure is formed by various foldings. Okay, so a hollow woolen ball like structure like this will be formed here due to various kind of foldings. Okay, here this is N-terminal and this is C-terminal, because this is a polypeptide chain which is folded like this to form a hollow woolen ball. Okay, and this structure is called tertiary structure of protein. And here this hollow woolen ball structure of protein is stabilized by various bonds, and these bonds are hydrogen bonds, ionic bonds, covalent bonds and hydrophobic bonds. These different kinds of bonds are present here so to stabilize this structure, this ball like structure. Okay, about these different types of bond you will study in chemistry. Now some important points about the tertiary structure of protein. Tertiary structure of protein gives us three-dimensional view of a protein. Okay, and active sites are exposed when a hollow woolen ball like structure is formed by the various foldings of a polypeptide chain. Then what happen? Active sites get exposed and protein becomes functionally active. Okay, so we can say in tertiary structure form, protein is functional. Okay, it is active. It is in its active form, right? it can form any enzyme, because enzymes are formed of protein, okay, and those enzymes are required for various metabolic reactions in our body. So protein becomes active in its tertiary structure form. After tertiary structure, there is quaternary structure of protein, and quaternary structure is assembly of more than one polypeptide. Okay, here up to tertiary level we have studied primary structure of protein, secondary structure, and tertiary structure of protein. Up to that level, only a single polypeptide chain is folded, okay, and forming various structures of protein. But here what is happening? There is assembly of more than one polypeptide. Okay, what happened? These polypeptides are arranged here with each other in various forms. Like these will be arranged with each other like subunits. Okay, these polypeptide, more than one polypeptide chains present here will be called subunits. Subunits of a single protein, you can say. Okay, and all these will be arranged with each other to function as a unit. Okay, all these subunits, or you can say all these polypeptide chains, will be arranged with each other to work as a unit. And by arranging with each other, these can take various forms. There can be a form of sphere, there can be linear string like form. Okay, so various forms will be there. Now we can understand the quaternary structure with the help of one example, that is hemoglobin. You know about hemoglobin. It is found in our RBCs, in our blood, you can say. Okay, and this hemoglobin, represented by HB, it is made up of two types of polypeptide: alpha polypeptide and beta polypeptide, or you can say alpha chain and beta chains are present in hemoglobin. What is hemoglobin? This is basically a protein. Okay, so this is a protein, and this hemoglobin protein is made up of two types of polypeptide chains. These are alpha chain and beta chain. So two alpha chains are present here and two beta chains are present here. So total 4 subunits are present here in hemoglobin. These are total 4 subunits. Okay, and these 4 subunits, or 4 polypeptide chains, you can say, these are arranged with each other as subunits and combinedly work as a unit. Okay, what is that unit? That is hemoglobin. Okay, so we can say there are 4 subunits of hemoglobin which are arranged with each other and functioning as hemoglobin, right? So there will be 2 alpha chains like this. Okay, this is one alpha chain, this is another alpha chain arranged with this, then another, this is beta chain, and this is another beta chain. Like there can be any form. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 subunits will be arranged here to form a complete hemoglobin. Okay, so various forms can be there when these subunits will arrange with each other. After protein structure, our next topic is nucleic acid. So here we will discuss about the structure of nucleic acids also. Now you know what are nucleic acids. These can be DNA or RNA, right? So these nucleic acids are basically polynucleotides. Now you know about polynucleotides. Polynucleotides means many nucleotides are arranged here to form a chain, and that chain is called a polynucleotide chain, or you can say that will be a nucleic acid. Okay, so nucleotides are as monomer unit here. Okay, these are monomers, or you can say subunits of nucleic acid. Now let's recall the structure of nucleotide first. You know, in nucleotide there are 3 components. First, a sugar is there. Okay, and that sugar can be ribose sugar, or deoxyribose sugar. If ribose type of sugar is present here in nucleotide, then that polynucleotide chain that will be formed from that nucleotide will be called RNA. Okay, and if deoxyribose sugar is present here, then we will have DNA. After that, next component of this nucleotide is nitrogen bases, and we have two types of nitrogen bases here, purines and pyrimidines. Right, we have two purines, that is adenine and guanine, and we have three pyrimidines. These are cytosine, thymine and uracil. Right, so here adenine, guanine, these two are purines, and cytosine, thymine and uracil, these are pyrimidines. Right, now adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, these are nitrogen bases which are present in DNA, and in case of RNA, in place of thymine, uracil is present. Okay, in RNA this thymine is not present. What is present in place of thymine? Uracil is present. Right, now third component which is present in a nucleotide, that is phosphate. So all these components like sugar, nitrogen bases and phosphate, these combinedly make a nucleotide, and then the chain of nucleotide will form nucleic acid. These nucleic acids can be DNA or RNA. Now one more important thing, phosphate will be like this. Okay, now one more important thing here, in nucleic acid two polynucleotide chains are present. If we talk about DNA as a nucleic acid, then two nucleotide chains are present here. Okay, then let's understand that how the two polynucleotide chains make a DNA. Okay, so we can understand it by this, like here you will get to know that how the bonds are formed between these components and how the nucleic acid DNA will be formed from nucleotide, from a polynucleotide chain. Okay, so see here, this is the first component of nucleotide. We can say this is sugar. Okay, 5 carbons are present here, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 5 carbon structure. This is sugar. Okay, on first position of this sugar, this thymine is attached here, which is nitrogen base. If we talk about the third component of a nucleotide, that will be phosphate. So phosphate is attached here with the 5th carbon. Okay, now this is second nucleotide. Okay, so in second nucleotide, here also you can see this sugar is present. Okay, and this is first position, this is second, third, fourth and 5th carbon. Okay, so now let's understand that how these nucleotides are attached with each other and how a polynucleotide chain will be formed, and then the nucleoside will be formed from that. Okay, so a polynucleotide chain will be formed first by formation of bonds like this. Like on first position here, this thymine is attached with this sugar. Okay, and this is next nucleotide where also on the first position this adenine is attached. Okay, so a bond will be formed here between thymine and adenine. Okay, and like this a nucleotide chain will be formed. Like this nucleotide is attached with this one, then next nucleotide will be attached with this one, okay, by formation of these bonds between nitrogen bases. So a nucleotide chain will be formed here. Okay, now how another nucleotide chain is attached with this chain? So let's understand it. Here, you know, this here on the 5th carbon, this phosphate is attached here. Okay, I told you about this earlier also, that phosphate is always attached at the 5th carbon of sugar. So you see here, this is 5th carbon of sugar and phosphate is attached with it. Okay, and the bond with the help of which this phosphate is attached here with the carbon is called ester bond. This is called ester bond, right? Now here in the second polynucleotide chain, you can see this is 3rd carbon position. Okay, and this phosphate is attached here on this carbon. Okay, so we can say that in a nucleic acid, a phosphate moiety links the 3rd carbon of one sugar, like this is one sugar, and this phosphate moiety is attached here with the 3rd carbon of this sugar. Okay, so it is linking the 3rd carbon of one sugar of one nucleotide to the 5th carbon of another sugar of the succeeding nucleotide, you can say. Okay, so this phosphate moiety is linked with the 3rd carbon of one sugar and 5th carbon of another sugar, and like these two polynucleotide chains will get attached with each other to form a nucleoside. Right, now I am telling you that this bond is called ester bond, with the help of which this carbon of sugar is attached with the phosphate. Okay, likewise same bond is formed here at the 3rd carbon and between this phosphate and this 3rd carbon. Okay, same ester bond will be formed here also, because 2 ester bonds are formed here. That's why in nucleic acid we say that phosphodiester bond is formed. Okay, because this is called phosphoester bond, you can say. In complete name you can say this is ester bond or phosphoester bond, because phosphate is attached here now, so it can be called phosphoester bond, and because 2 ester bonds are present here, that's why it will be called phosphodiester bond. So you can say in nucleic acid these 2 polynucleotide chains are attached with each other by formation of phosphodiester bond, right? So like this 2 polynucleotide chains will be attached and a nucleic acid will be formed here. Now one more thing that you need to understand here, like you can see here this thymine. Thymine is a pyrimidine, right? And this adenine is a purine. So thymine always pair with adenine. Thymine always pair with adenine, and guanine always pair with cytosine, right? And in case of RNA, this adenine pair with uracil, because in RNA I told you that in place of thymine uracil is present, right? So there this adenine will get pair with uracil, right? Now one more thing you need to understand, that here between the thymine and adenine there is always double hydrogen bond. You can see here this bond, this double hydrogen bond is present here between thymine and adenine. But guanine and cytosine are always paired with each other by triple hydrogen bond. As you can see these 3 lines here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so these are always paired with 3 hydrogen bonds. So these things you need to remember about the structure of nucleic acid. Now we have discussed about basic structure of nucleic acid, okay, but a variety of secondary structures are possible in nucleic acid. So one of the secondary structure we will do here, which is commonly exhibited by DNA. Okay, so here we will do about the Watson-Crick model of DNA. Okay, that is a secondary structure of nucleic acid, you can say. So this is very important structure of DNA, that is called Watson-Crick model, because it was this structure of DNA was given by Watson and Crick. That's why it is called Watson-Crick model of DNA. So let's understand what are the features of DNA structure according to this model. So first of all, we will make the structure that how, according to Watson and Crick, how this DNA is present here. So first we have made this one polynucleotide chain. Okay, this is having polarity 5 prime to 3 prime, right? It will be 3 prime. Now, two such anti-parallel chains are present in DNA. That's why we are making its anti-parallel chain here. This is anti-parallel. Anti-parallel means because one strand is having 5 prime polarity here. Okay. This 5 prime is representing here the carbon position, the free carbon position that was present in the sugar. Okay, I told you about the basic structure. So there was the 5 prime carbon where the phosphate was attached, right? So this 5 prime is for that. Okay, so one strand is having polarity 5 prime to 3 prime and another will have polarity 3 prime to 5 prime. That's why you can see here these two chains are anti-parallel to each other, because one is having 3 prime and this side and another is having 5 prime and this side. Okay, so first thing that you will tell about this Watson-Crick model of DNA will be that two polynucleotide chains are present here having anti-parallel direction, right? After that, next thing about it is that sugar and phosphate are present on the backbone like this. So here we have sugar and phosphate present on the backbone of polynucleotide chains. Likewise here also you will show the sugar and phosphate on the whole length of these polynucleotide chains. Okay, I am not labeling the whole chain because it will take time. Okay, so you will write the sugar phosphate like this. So sugar and phosphate are present on the backbone of the polynucleotide chains, and nitrogen bases, which are purines and pyrimidines, adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, all these are present on the interior side like this, adenine and thymine. So these are paired with each other with the double bond. Then you can label here guanine, cytosine, which are paired with triple bond. Okay, likewise again you can write here guanine, cytosine paired with triple bond. Okay, like this you will make the nitrogen bases on the interior side. Okay, now next thing about it is that total diameter of this double helical structure is 20 angstrom. It is 20 angstrom. And one pitch is of 34 angstrom. One pitch is like you can start from here. If you start from here, so from here to here, it will be one pitch. This is called one pitch of DNA, and this is of 34 angstrom. Right? Now one more thing. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So total 10 base pairs. Base pairs are like adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. This is called one base pair. Okay, this is one nitrogen base, right? And when these two nitrogen bases are paired with each other, this will be called a base pair. Okay, so 10 such base pairs are present in this one helix. Okay, these are helix of DNA, and in one helix how many base pairs are present? Total 10 base pairs are present. Okay, you can write these base pairs like this, or you can represent these by single lines. Okay, so 10 such base pairs are present here, and distance between each base pair is 3.4 angstrom. Between these two base pairs, this distance is 3.4 angstrom. So these things you need to learn about the structure. That about the pitch. So pitch is of 34 angstrom. Distance between two base pairs is 3.4 angstrom. Total diameter is 20 angstrom. These two chains are anti-parallel to each other. Sugar and phosphates are present on the backbones, and nitrogen bases are present on the interior side. So this is the complete information about the Watson-Crick model of DNA. And this form of DNA is called bDNA. Okay, DNA is present in various forms. There can be aDNA, ZDNA, like that. So this form is called bDNA. I hope this Watson and Crick model of DNA is clear to you all. Now you need to do one thing. The points that I have told you, all those points you will write in your notebook as salient features of DNA structure. Okay, so write these points, like all these points that I have told you. You will write these points in your notebook. So this is all about today's lecture. So dear children, your homework for today is NCERT question number 8. And you need to describe protein structure at different levels with the diagrams. Okay, and also describe Watson-Crick model of DNA. Like you will write the salient features and you will make the diagram.